Hello, everyone. So, I want to start telling you a little story today. And it's not a fairy tale because life isn't a fairy tale. Life be life. Um, but this story is about my journey to home. Home is something that means so many things to so many different people. Home can be a spiritual home. It could be the actual place where you live, where you reside. And to some people, home is the people that you love that are in your circle, who are your family. And to some, it's a combination of all of that. My journey to home started so many years ago, actually. And it's been different phases of my life. I remember when I was in college and I was living in Jacksonville, Alabama. And I attended church in Anniston. And it was this little lady who was getting ready to sell her home. And for some reason, I really wanted to buy that home. It wasn't in the best neighborhood ever. It was actually not in a great neighborhood, but for some reason, I saw potential in it. And so I talked to my dad, and I was like, Dad, I really like this house. It wasn't really expensive. But he didn't think it was a great investment for me. He didn't think it was something that I should try to focus on at that time. And so I didn't. But that was the first time I considered, at least that I can remember at this time, the first time I considered what home would look like for me. And it's different for everyone, you know. Um, there are many things to consider when you think about what home is for you. When you're thinking about, for instance, the place that you're going to reside, you might want to consider um, what you're capable of doing. Do you want to do renovations? Do you not want to do renovations? Do you actually have the ability to do the renovations that you want to do? And if you don't, do you know someone that do? The cost of renovations. Some people have to consider school systems. If you have a child and they attend school, if you're not homeschooling, or if they're not in private school, for some, location to a really good school is very important. Um, to others, location to work, how much it costs. There are so many things to consider when you are trying to find a physical home. And for me at that time of my life, one of the things that was important to me was ministry. My church was really important to me, but not only that, the impact that I thought that I could make on the community. So even though the community wasn't the best of communities, I saw potential. And I didn't step out on it at that time. And I felt kind of bad about it. And then I have to remember, I think I might have been 19 or 20 years old. And so it's not like I was really financially stable at 19 or 20 years old. Some of you might be. I was not. And so um it really, I'm glad I didn't. Looking back on it, I'm glad I didn't, because even though the amount of the home didn't seem that much at the time, um, I didn't have all of the know-how that I have now. And I don't know if, I don't think it would have been a great experience in the end. I'm one to believe that all things work together, but I could see how that would have ended up not so good, not so good. As I've gotten older, um, home for me has changed. At one point in time, I considered um, getting a condo because I didn't want a lot of yard. I just wanted something to call my own, but I didn't want to have to be dealing with a lot of land and things like that. I liked the ability to have something in my name, but I didn't want all the responsibilities that you have to have in a single family home. So I considered that. Um, there was a time where I lived in apartments because I didn't want to consider a mortgage. There was a time where I even considered buying land and moving a house. And I had even looked into it, and that was as I got older. That was something that my now husband and I had looked into, and we're going to, that was one of our options. And that didn't, it ended up not being a something that we went forward with. When my husband and I got married, um, well, before we even got married, actually, I was looking to buy a house as a single woman. And I decided at this point in time, I did want a little bit more land. I wanted a single family home because at that time, my thought was, I'm going to live in the house now, but it would be something that I would use as an investment property later. And I was looking at a home in Talladega, Alabama, because that's where I was working at that time. That was also where I was going to church, and I was very active there. And I was having to drive hour, 15 minutes, hour and a half one way just to get to work Monday through Friday, um, and leaving work, but also on Sundays. So most of my days were in Talladega, and I was looking for a single family home there. But then I met my husband. Well, at least we reunited, and that's a story for another time. Or I'll tell you along the way. But him and I had discussed at first him moving to Talladega because I was looking to a home. And as we became more serious in our relationship, that was something that we considered, buying a home there. While my husband considered moving to Talladega, and it was actually something that at one point in time we were going to move forward with, I also realized that my husband had kids prior to us coming together. And it was really important to me um, that he lived closer to them. Um, And so it would make it easier for him to be able to see them and them to be able to. It was really important for me for him to still be part of their lives. And it was important to him as well. I just couldn't. I would rather travel the distance every day than have him to live too far away from his kids. Now, he did have one son that was already an adult and that was living in another state. But his other kids, he had three sons. He has three sons. We had three sons. um, his other sons, one was in high school at the time, and then the other one was in middle school at the time. And so, yeah, it was just, I couldn't let him move away. I was like, I would rather just drive back and forth than to. It was really important to me that he, continues to have a relationship with his sons. And I wanted to build a relationship with them. And that wasn't going to happen. Well, it would have been more difficult if we were living in Talladega. Once we got married, I moved in with him. And at the time, my husband was living in a house that was a very old home. It was, I guess, a family home, a home that his aunt had. And it was our desire at first to renovate it and to make it make it just better. I've always been the type I really like historical homes. I really like old homes. And the fact that my husband knows how to do a lot of things just made the idea of having that old home so much easier. Because I knew there were things that at this point in my life I was able to do. But I also know my husband can do a lot of things. When it comes to building and plumbing and electrical, and while he's not licensed in a licensed contractor, he has the ability to do some things. And so the things that he was able to do, we were going to do those. And then the things that we would need to have permits and someone licensed for, we was going to pull people in to do those things. And then we had guidance along the way. He knew different people in different areas that we were able to call on, and we had a plan. We were going to renovate that old house. And the more we looked into that old house, we realized it was a lot of work. The turning point for us came when we couldn't get the house in our name. And I'm all for taking on a challenge, but it has to be something that we can own. And it was a family property. And anyone that have had family properties know it can be a little challenging to get everyone in agreement with what should be done. So we just went ahead and stepped away from that. There was some work that we did do on the house because we chose to live in the house while we were doing the work. But we only did the things that were necessary it had a leaky roof. And so it was important that we went ahead and did the roof so that we could protect everything, what we thought we was going to do on the inside. Um, and then, uh, yeah, there was a back part of the house that he took off where it was a fire at one time. And um, it was a lot of work that was done, but it was way more work that needed to be done. And before we invested any more money and any more time into that house, we stopped.